Ian, I was listening to Richard Brindley talk after the match at the weekend, and he said this really interesting thing about how much he was enjoying watching during the game, seeing Cal Roberts, Jayden link up, and how much he was sitting back and just enjoying watching his teammates kind of take the spotlight and the sort of football that they were playing. And it struck me that you have these interesting sort of different approaches from some players. Those players like Cal Roberts, the Rodriguez, the Woodlers who kind of get all the headlines, and then those others who are kind of do a lot of the dirty work, if you like, and then sit and watch the others do the bit of entertaining. And I wonder how difficult that blend is to get as a manager out on the team, to get the right amount of those sort of ones who do the dirty bit to allow those others to get. How difficult a balance is that for you to find as a head coach?
I think I think every team needs different personalities and different types of players and different skill sets, and you know, somebody like Brins kind of sets the platform for Jayden and Cal on that right hand side. Without Brins being able to cover the spaces that he covers and being able to defend high up the pitch with a lot of space, you probably wouldn't get the attacking licence from those two. So they kind of come hand in hand. So yeah, you have to kind of find the right balance between the players. That's important. And then having different skill sets. You know, some players, you know, like Cal recently, fantastic form and doing some brilliant individual things that, of course, everybody likes to see. But he can't do it without the security of the other players around him and the support of that. So, yeah, I think it's really important to have that balance.
Do you find that those players who maybe don't get the headlines, don't get the attention in that sense, do you find that usually they don't want it either? Are they the sort of players who don't necessarily seek that sort of adoration in that way that, you know, that comes with being the goal scorer, for instance?
I don't know. You'd have to ask each individual. I'm sure it's not a bad thing if there's good positive headlines for anybody. I think everybody would like that probably, but I think some players naturally draw that. Normally the attacking players, isn't it? You know, in every team, the match winners tend to draw the headlines a little bit more. But I think everybody within the squad is aware that nobody's going to do it by themselves, and everybody else provides a platform. And yeah, I think perhaps there's a handful of players in the team that consistently perform. Brins is certainly one of them. That maybe doesn't covet the headlines as much as everybody else, but doesn't mean that certainly within the club and even with the supporters they're not valued. I think they're hugely valued and people recognise that.
And is it more important with those players that's where your consistency lies? That you might want to sort of mix and change a few other bits and try different things, but you have the consistency. Matty Palmer, of course, has played every single minute of every National League game for you this season. That would be a case in point for you.
Yeah, Matty just goes about his business. Brilliant every day, consistent every game. And you need that. You definitely need that because, of course, we have some players that you would say are maybe more X factor players like Ruben or Cal, and of course they can create a goal out of nothing with the abilities that they've got. But again, when you have players that can do that, the opposition tries to stop them a lot, and then it's important that the other players that you've got, their skill set is the level of consistency that they bring, which guys like Matty Palmer and Brins, just two examples, have been excellent this season to create that consistency.
I remember Gary Liddell playing every minute of every game through a whole season, and what a big deal was made of that at the time. You don't see it very often,
No.
I'm sure I saw you. I think Matty Palmer might be the only player in the National League to have played every minute of every game so far. So that's testament to obviously what a value he is to you, but also to him as a player, isn't it? To be able to do that.
Yeah, I mean, physically, it's not so easy, especially when games come thick and fast, although they haven't come that thick and fast for us lately. But we have had periods, you know, we played early in the season, we played Torquay Wrexham with only one day in between. So, you know, to be able to get through those games is testament to him, and at the level that he's performed at has been outstanding, really. So, yeah, it's really important. I mean, I knew that when we were signing Matty, you know, we spoke quite a lot before he signed, and I'd seen the skill set that he got, and it was going to be hugely valuable to us. So, and I think he has been. So, yeah, that consistency of performance has been outstanding from him.
I read the quotes and listened to your interview with Charlie, and obviously how happy you were with the performance at the weekend. When you've had that, I can't remember the exact term you used, but you're obviously very happy with the way you played, the number of chances you created. How difficult is it to follow that up with a similar level or go further when you've had that?
I mean, the opposition will have a say in that, and that's a big part of it. Halifax have had a great season so far. We've played them twice, both been very close games, quite entertaining games, I think, quite open games. They'll pose a very different threat, certainly attack-wise, to what Eastleigh did. So we need to replicate that same level, and of course maybe it won't look as comfortable because I think the level that we play against is going to be higher. I don't mean that against Eastleigh, but Halifax are there in the league for a reason, so we have to be able to try to replicate that level of performance to give ourselves a good opportunity against a strong team.
And is it hard not to place that extra bit of importance on this game, given the stage of the season, given the significance of the league position where they are, 3 points takes you above them? You must consider that, mustn't you, the importance of the game in the context of the league table as well at this stage?
This game is the most important game of the season, but then once it's finished, then that we're going to say exactly the same about the Woking game, that it's the most important game of the season so far, and I'm pretty sure in a week's time when we play Chesterfield, that's exactly what we're going to say again. So I know that we're going to say this a lot. So it's an important game, really. And a week ago, the most important game of the season was the Easter game. So that's gone now, and now we have a new one. So I think we just every game from now on in is really big, and we just focus each one at a time and try to deliver a really good performance in it, and if we do that, then we give ourselves the best opportunity in that game.
But getting 3 points against them, and also therefore meaning they don't get any points, obviously, out of that game, that's a double whammy, isn't it? They don't call it a 6-pointer for nothing, do they? That's why people like us ask the questions.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously, if you can win and prevent teams around you from achieving points, it's double bubble. But the most important thing for me is just that we put a good performance on, and we try to take 3 points, and we go from there.
Great stuff here. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Dave. Cheers.
Gabriel, have you got any questions?
Just a couple, but Miller starting off with, obviously you've got a difficult test of Halifax on the weekend. I think David sort of touched upon it a little bit. But having played them I believe it was literally just 2 weeks ago in the FA Trophy, do you need to change much from that performance going into tomorrow, or do you perhaps, are you potentially changing your approach to the game with the thoughts that Halifax might have snuffed you out?
No, I thought it was quite an even game there. I mean, we changed 7 or 8 players prior to the game, so we've rotated quite a lot. I don't think they rotated too much, so I imagine that they're fairly similar setup. But of course, like each time you play, we learnt a little bit more about them, and they learnt a little bit more about us. And like I say, it was pretty even game. Of course, we got the goal late on that edged it, but there wasn't too much between us on that day, in quite difficult conditions, to be honest, with the pitch. It'll be much better conditions here, so the ball will probably flow. It'll probably be even more open. But yeah, I think over the 2 games that we've played, we definitely learnt plenty about Halifax. But Pete's a smart guy. I'm pretty sure he's learnt a lot about us as well. So it'll make it an interesting game.
Perhaps someone who might have a bit more of a pivotal role in the game is Cal Roberts. He's dealt with all these injuries in his past, but he's had a great season so far. Just how crucial could he be to how this result goes for you?
Yeah, I think when Cal is playing like he's playing at the moment, he's huge for us because he creates so much. He can beat players 1v1. He attracts a lot of bodies over there to try and stop him, and it opens space for other players. So, of course, we need him to play well, but we also have to know that teams are going to try and stop him, and if they're successful in that, other players have to be on it as well to be able to create for us. So it'll be a collective effort. But yeah, if Cal can continue to produce the form that he has, it's going to be great for us.
And in terms of team news, are there any fresh injury concerns or anything like that going into the game?
No, everybody came through the weekend well. Everybody looked good in training today, so that's a positive thing.
Yeah, and the last thing from me, then mentioning training as well. Just how good is the mood around the camp right now? Obviously, you're on the verge of getting to the playoffs. A good result tomorrow would see you get into the playoffs, you'd imagine. So, just how good is the mood around the camp right now?
Yeah, it's good. It's good, but do you know what? It hasn't really dropped all season. I think that even though we've had like a couple of spells where results dipped a little bit, in general, the lads have been very focused and they haven't got too down when we had a couple of bad results and not too high now. I think the mood's been pretty consistent throughout the season and the lads are well focused. So just looking forward now to getting into a good run of games. Obviously, we've talked a lot about missing them, so I'm certainly going to revel in the fact that we're going to play Saturday, Tuesday now and enjoy it.